All right, well, good morning, everyone. It is Tuesday. Meteorologist Chris Holtzman here, and we are tracking more warmth. In fact, near record high temperatures are possible over the next few days. So let's take a look at our temperatures this morning. There's a live look at Jacksonville Beach, by the way, where we are tracking across our area. Sunshine around as the waves are certainly there, but there's a look at our temperature. So we are in the 60s across our region, even some 50s. So it was certainly a very mild start to our day. We had a little bit of fog around as well. St. Augustine showing more of that sunshine, and temperatures are on the way up as well. And a live look here, Green Cove Springs, where we are tracking more sunshine around with those temperatures starting to warm up. Jacksonville Beach, as we just saw, you can see the waves certainly moving on shore, and we are looking across our area as we head over to downtown Jacksonville, tracking some clouds, but for the most part, high pressure is in control, and we are looking at a temperature right now of 77 degrees. So temperatures are certainly on the way up across the region. Our setup that we have in place, as we look at clouds and radar, we are tracking some of that sunshine around, and there's some activity to our west. That's in association with that system. That's a front, and that eventually will bring some big time changes to our area by the end of the week. We'll be tracking the potential for some showers and even some storms as we head into Thursday. So as the players starts, as we head into Thursday, we are tracking especially the potential for some rain and a few storms around. But again, we're not expecting a significant widespread event, but activity will develop with that front. I'll talk about that in just a moment, but you can see with our temperature forecast, we are looking at temperatures in the 70s and even 80s right now. So yeah, we are warming up. 81 right now in Palatka, 76 in Green Cove Springs, Mayport, we're in the mid to upper 70s. 76 in Orange Park, we have McClenny at 77, 68 in Lake City, and temperatures are in the low 70s in Brunswick. Wind speed showing across the area that we are looking at certainly those winds very calm today as opposed to what we saw yesterday. So again, we will be tracking across our area the wind to pick up by the middle to the end of the week as a front approaches our region. Wind gust right now, we're gusting up to about 10 miles per hour, so nothing terribly significant. An hourly forecast verifies across our region we are in the 80s, and we are tracking generally a mainly clear condition around. But for the most part, look at those temperatures, mid to even upper 80s. So yeah, we are warming up. High temperatures well into the 80s to near 90 degrees across our region. We are looking at 81 in St. Augustine, 85 in Mayport, 90 today in Orange Park, 89 in McClenny. By the way, this could be, if we do reach 90 tomorrow, that would be the second earliest 90-degree day on record. Average is in April, so this would be pretty early in the year to see our first 90-degree reading in Jacksonville. We'll keep you updated, but it looks like as we head throughout the day, anything that develops would be very isolated in nature. And then as we head into Wednesday morning, we're starting out the day dry. Temperatures by tonight, 60s to right around 70 degrees. So again, it is certainly a mild night out there. Patchy fog will be possible. And into tomorrow, well, there you go. Temperatures will be in the low 90s. If we do reach 90 tomorrow, again, that would be the second earliest on record for the Jacksonville area. Futurecast shows as we go throughout the day, we are tracking another isolated shower or storm ahead of an approaching front. We do need the rain. Drought monitor showing that we are in a drought, an extreme drought across our area. Most of the rain, at least the highest totals, will be east of us, but we are expecting around a quarter to perhaps an inch of rain, at least widespread numbers of that, as we head into the day on Thursday. And that's in association with an approaching front. There's a look at that rain coverage. So by Thursday, now likely in the morning we'll be seeing a spotty shower, not expecting widespread activity, but by the afternoon, that's when we start to see the potential for some widespread showers and storms, of course, as the players is ongoing there in Sawgrass. So we are tracking at the TPC Sawgrass the chance for some showers and storms. Watch what happens here. So Wednesday, another hot day, warmest day of the week, and then into Thursday, there's that line of showers and storms pushing across our area. Now, models are indicating that front could stall nearby on Friday. That could perhaps keep more clouds in and keep a rain chance around. We'll have to watch exactly the position of that front because that will dictate if we see any rain on Friday. Some of our modeling agrees with that. Others are saying, nope, the front moves far enough to the south. So we'll keep you updated on that. Temperature outlook, though, as we head into the middle to the end of the month, it actually looks cooler. In fact, a area of colder temperatures will be moving in by next week where we could see highs perhaps in the 50s and 60s, lows back in the 30s and 40s. So some colder temperatures around the way. but at least our rainfall outlook as we head through the middle to the end of the month, we are looking at a better chance of above normal temperatures. So on our 7-day forecast, we are tracking highs near 90 on Wednesday, 83 degrees on Thursday. Friday, we're looking at highs in the low 70s, 77 on Saturday. And then we are looking at temperatures by the second half of the weekend into next week, back in the 70s and 80s. Could see another front, which will bring much cooler temperatures by the second half of the weekend into next week. But in the meantime, it is hot and a bit humid out there, with the potential for some storms later in the week. Well, let's look at the weather across our area. What about across our state and the country? I'll be back in just a few minutes with your national forecast. All right, welcome back, everyone. Meteorologist Chris Holtzman here. Let's talk about the weather across the country now, because warmth, that's overhead for many locations. In fact, look at temperatures across the Northeast, where it certainly has been cold. Folks up there enjoying 60s and 70s. How about that? A large part of the central and southern part of the country still in the 60s and 70s. Cooler temperatures are generally to our north and west. Across the Pacific Northwest, our overall setup for Tuesday, so for the day today, another chance for severe storms across the central part of the country and even in Texas. By the way, Michigan had a tornado, 3 Rivers, that's in Michigan. Cleanup has been ongoing and it continues. So we have some information from there where a tornado damaged a large part of a community. Let's head over to Michigan with the latest information.
3 Rivers is figuring out how to pick up the pieces and where to even begin as they try to get a grasp on everything Friday's tornado destroyed. Douglas and Grant Avenues hit hard. Home after home left scarred and barely recognizable.
There's roofs off, there's trees down, power lines everywhere.
This family just feels lucky to be alive. Shanna Ortiz was picking up her daughter from daycare when she heard sirens.
The people at the school asked us to stay and said we wouldn't be leaving, which was good of them. We all went into the bathroom together and we started singing songs, playing games, but we were praising God. We felt our ears pop and heard a loud noise.
Amber Joseph was in panic, rushing to get her 5-month-old Madeline and knowing the tornado was already there.
We look out the window and we saw the tornado go down right the strip, and it's where my daughter is, where my parents are, where I live down the road, and I was just very grateful that God protected my daughter and my mom and sister and my family.
Joe Stevenson's roof was ripped clean off, but he and his wife weren't home when it happened.
We were totally blessed, and we're not really blessed right now, but we're blessed to be alive. We will fix this.
That's right. But just down the street, Nelson Storms was home, telling News Channel 3 the tornado came through so fast he barely had time to take cover.
As soon as I took steps down the basement, the whole house just started getting shredded to pieces. And
so you could just feel it when you were inside. You got downstairs just in time.
Just in the nick of time.
His home badly damaged. Now he and many of his neighbors are focused on finding a safe place to spend the night until they can get a grasp on where they go from here.
Yeah, so you can see cleanup continues after that tornado, and it looks like areas nearby could see the potential for more severe weather as we head into the day today. In terms of our forecast, though, for Florida, not expecting any severe weather here. Best chance for flooding will be along that front, and you can see stretching from Texas all the way up to Michigan. So more rain is ongoing there, and we'll continue to watch that potential over the next few days as that front moves to the east of the area. In terms of our warmth, well, look at that. I mean, temperatures could be above normal, well above normal. Record highs are possible from Arkansas, points north and east. And as we head into the eastern part of the country, temperatures are running about 25 to 35 degrees above average. By the way, with that warm weather, well, that can lead to issues on the rivers. Of course, I went to college in Vermont. I've seen this firsthand. Ice jams. They're a serious threat when it gets warmer. All of that ice starts to jam some of the rivers. Water levels continue to build, and the National Weather Service in Burlington, Vermont has issued a ice jam flood warning. Let's head over to Vermont with the latest details.
The Mad River's flow coming to a halt in this spot as ice builds up quickly and blocks the way.
Well, we've never seen anything like this.
We've seen this several times here, so unfortunately we're a little bit used to it, and it's always scary though. It's always very scary because you never know when it's going to end.
The National Weather Service issued a flood warning for this ice jam in the Mad River and also in the Au Sable in the North Country of New York. Ice jams by nature can be very rapid and very quick onset and very difficult to predict. As you can see where I'm walking right now, this parking lot is completely filled with water, and it's hard to say how deep it is down there. There's been a few cars that have driven through, but that's why emergency officials are urging you not to drive through. Even though it might look shallow, you really don't know what's underneath there. And to not also hang out near the riverbanks, because even though it might seem steady right now, something could change very quickly. The water can rise several feet in just a few minutes. We even saw that on the Waitsfield camera this morning.
Turn around, don't drown.
Fred Messer is the director of Waitsfield Emergency Management and has been tracking the ice buildup all day.
What's concerning me right now is that the water is leaving the channel, flowing through this parking lot and down. You just can't plan that it's always like going to jump back into the river. Emergency officials are urging people that live near the river to have a go bag ready and an escape route planned if you need to evacuate. You know, Mother Nature is going to do what she's going to do. So it's just a matter of waiting and see how much the rivers rise. The National Weather Service says the possibility of an ice jam happening is above normal for the next 2 weeks.
Yeah, so that's a pretty big issue up there. I know, of course, when I went to school in Vermont, all of that snow melts and it can lead to flooding issues. By the way, southern New England, if you have any friends or family there, the Connecticut River flows from north to south, so all that water feeds off into the Long Island Sound. So even though it might be dry in southern New England, all of the snowmelt from the north moves south, and that can lead to flooding all the way down into Massachusetts, Connecticut. So certainly pretty interesting there, right? All of that snow, but it's warm. Yeah, temperatures running about 25 to 35 degrees above normal. And even out west, by the way, you can see across the central and western part of the country, still seeing above normal temperatures. In fact, bee colonies in Colorado were threatened by warm winter temperatures. And it looks like today and tomorrow, not much different. The warmth continues. Let's head over to Colorado with the latest information on those bee colonies.
Bees foraging among blossoms. Unusual because this is video captured in Colorado Springs when it's still winter and spring is still weeks away.
The bees at this time of year should be in a tight cluster, keeping themselves warm, riding out the winter.
And we want them to go into winter with about the equivalent of about 120 pounds of honey stores, which would be 2 of these big boxes on this hive.
Normally most domesticated honeybees will break cluster and they start flying about 45 degrees.
Leonard and Dolly Rickerman have been raising bees for decades. It's expanded into teaching others how to do it along with a small beekeeping business. This is video of all their beehives. They point out there's too many bees outside. It's the result of Colorado's extra warm winter.
Because they're out flying so much, they're consuming all the resources that are normally in the hive for them. And the big fear is this month and next month, there's a high probability of hives starving out.
All the movement burns energy. Finding more to eat, like on that one blossoming tree, is rare. Instead, most vegetation is still dormant, so they end up eating their stored honey.
It's disconcerting about this winter is people are coming in with their dead hives a lot earlier.
This day, the Rickermans have done what's called a hive autopsy. It's for another beekeeper. Starvation is the likely reason.
They just didn't have enough resources to survive the winter.
Extra warm days are also confusing queen bees. Some are laying eggs months early. If cold days hit or more bees continue to die from lack of food, odds are higher those young bees will be lost.
There's not enough nurse bees there to take care of them. They are going to die, yeah. And they have to be kept warm and fed and things like that. So it's a huge thing.
Yeah, so those warmer temperatures certainly play a role not only on humans, but of course all of our animals. And we are tracking bees, even other wildlife, certainly seeing that potential for habitats to be disrupted by the warmer temperatures. I mean, snowpack as well for those areas, way below normal due to how warm it's been. So really all of our wildlife certainly being impacted by the heat. But speaking of temperatures, as I mentioned, a large part of the country seeing that. Now into Wednesday, we are tracking the best chance for strong to severe storms along that front. That stretches from Texas all the way up into Pennsylvania and New York State. And then here in Florida and Georgia, we are tracking dry weather tomorrow, but then eventually by Thursday, we're tracking the better chance of a few showers and storms. Wednesday, though, our setup, as you mentioned, well, we are looking at certainly the rainfall to pick up across the northwest and that'll continue as we head into the south. Look at Texas. Eventually, an upper-level track will bring some rain through Wednesday, and then Wednesday, that flooding potentials to our north and west. We need the rain out there, but certainly we're not seeing it locally right now. But by the end of the week, that's when things could change. Our rain potential for Wednesday morning showing the northern parts of the country seeing that, and then that will shift to the east as we head into Wednesday afternoon. And notice our temperature setup into Wednesday above normal temperatures, and these temperatures can also play a role on the cherry blossoms in Washington, D.C. So they are actually forecast to bloom. The National Park Service says the Washington cherry trees will be in peak bloom from March 29th to April 1st. Now, the National Park Service says its projection could change depending on the weather, of course. And it says the blossoms usually stay on trees 7 to 10 days. It's really a beautiful sight if you haven't been. The Park Service says enjoying them dates back to Japan's gift of 3,000 cherry trees in 1912. How cool is that? And that is certainly a beautiful sight if you're ever in the D.C. area around that time, as really you get to see the cherry blossoms in full bloom. But we are tracking warmer temperatures all the way up the East Coast over the next few days. Now let's talk about weather not only here on Earth, but in space. Now, NASA predicted that an asteroid perhaps could get close to the moon. In fact, new data from the James Webb Space Telescope refined the orbit of the building-sized object known as 2024 YR4. So scientists are eliminating a previous 4% chance that the asteroid would strike the lunar surface in December of 2032. The asteroid is now expected to pass the moon at a distance of 13,000 miles. So NASA also says the orbit poses no significant risk to the Earth for at least the next century. So of course, all that comet activity, well, NASA is now saying there's no longer a 4% chance that the moon would be hit by that. So that's something, of course, NASA always monitors with all of the comets and asteroids we have in our solar system. And another mission actually changed the projection of asteroids. So the newly published research shows that NASA's 2022 DART mission test was successful. How about this? And intentionally shifting the orbit of not just one, but 2 asteroids around the sun. The spacecraft impacted the asteroid and its larger companion, which are linked together by gravity. So NASA says it's the first time humans have altered the path of a celestial body around the sun, and it puts us one step closer to being able to save the Earth from an oncoming asteroid. The DART spacecraft was built by and is operated by the Johns Hopkins Applied Physics Laboratory in Maryland for NASA's Planetary Defense Coordination Office. Pretty cool, but the research also was published in the journal Science Advances. So there's a couple of stories about asteroids, so you can actually change the orbit of an asteroid to avoid any impact. So pretty exciting stuff there, and it's interesting to see what technology will be like as we head into the next century or so. But yeah, that's a look at the weather locally across the country and of course up in space. Now we'll be back this afternoon with the latest forecast. You can get us on our weather app, on air and online with all of the latest details. And of course we will be here over the next couple of days giving you the latest forecast. Right now though, I hope you have a great rest of your Tuesday.
See why every day more people are choosing News4JAX, Northeast Florida and South Georgia's #1 source for local news.